Hallowmaniacs, what's going on? Different kind of video today. I am actually in the great state of Tennessee, so I'm going to take you along for the ride to see what kind of thrift and antique treasures we can find. Obviously, they have to all be Halloween related, so why don't you join me and let's see what we can find on this journey. Here we go, Hallowmaniacs. Let's do this. All right, so my first stop was this awesome place outside Knoxville called Nostalgia. Steph and I come here quite frequently when we vacation in Tennessee the last couple of years, so I wanted to check it out since I was in the area. See this pretty cool cat clock right here, kind of a vintage kind of look to it, maybe vintage inspired, or maybe it is truly vintage, I don't know. But I thought it was kind of a cool piece. The Munsters, you can't go wrong with those guys, right? Some cool action figures here as well, and I was really surprised to start seeing some Halloween down south because traditionally we've gone and we've looked for Halloween and it's been a little bit of a struggle here. These were 60 bucks each, so a little bit on the pricier side. Not something I had to have, but cool nevertheless. Frankenstein bust, that was pretty cool as well. Always, kind of cool to add some of those classic Universal monsters to the collection. Another plush here as well, kind of a Frankenstein inspired plush toy. Thought that was kind of cool, and again, just kind of excited to actually find some stuff Halloween. Pez dispensers. Steph's got a pretty cool Pez dispenser collection going as well. These were kind of neat. You know, the Black Cat, the Ghost, and the Witch, of course. Kind of three of your classic Pez type of characters. And just kind of taking a look at the store, I mean, there was a little bit of everything. I mean, it was a huge, huge store. Lots of stuff, lots of antiquities, lots of collectibles. Some dishware, you know, everything from dishware to vintage clothing to antique books to you name it, they pretty much had it. Stranger Things, who was excited for the sequel or the finale of that whole series as well? I can't wait for that. I believe that's going to be released later this year, and super excited to see how that story kind of ends as well as a part of that series. Kind of a cool piece here as well, so definitely some cool things that we found here. Ripley's Believe It or Not. I know they've got some cool museums all across the country. Some cool world records all documented in here as well. And kind of that more paranormal oddity type stuff that it kind of falls into. You know, as you kind of look here, you know, just rows and rows of stuff. And, you know, I had a very limited time because I didn't have as much time as I would like to dedicate to go through this. Being that I was kind of on the go, but just a lot of really cool stuff here as well. And even though it's not all Halloween themed or Halloween oriented, still some cool pieces here. Black Cat bag, kind of reminded me of good old Binks back home. Thought that was pretty neat. This I think is a Bela Lugosi inspired mask, so that was kind of neat. Rubber mask, and definitely looked antique. You know, it looks $38 on there. Found this ventriloquist dummy as well, sitting in this one curio cabinet. Kind of creepy, kind of gave you those Halloween type of vibes as well as you kind of took a look at that. And, you know, kind of going through the rest of the shop here, you know, started to not find as much Halloween, but definitely wanted to get just kind of an overview and capture, you know, the grand scheme of things with this antique shop specifically. So after that, I took my car and took another venture out to Bargain Hunters, which was a much larger antique shop, rows and rows, and this literally took me about over an hour and a half to just kind of go through and make sure I saw everything Halloween. I see this pumpkin kind of decor, even in Halloween book, My Tricks and Treats. That was pretty cool, you know, something that you don't see every day. And again, for, you know, spring to summer, you know, it's kind of surprising to find some of this stuff down south. Cool pumpkin bucket. This witch was kind of neat. Some cool different types of things that, you know, I found, you know, here and there. And some booths were feeling the summerween or the Halloween a little bit early, which is really cool as well. That lights up. That's kind of a cool piece as well. Again, you know, not something I had to have. This was super cool. This is actually a coin bank. It's a mechanical bank, and if there's a lever on it, and his arm actually goes up and his eyes bulge out as you move that mechanical piece as a part of that bank. Couple cool vintage looking pumpkins here as well. That was pretty cool. And we've got quite a few light up ones to go already as a part of our collection. This was a stack of 3. So not something I had to have again, and being that I was traveling, not the easiest to kind of take home either. So definitely some cool stuff here. This was a cool booth, had tons of Halloween horror themed stuff. Everything from Nightmare Before Christmas to all of your classic horror villains, right? Everything from Jason and Freddy, you know, Michael Myers, Chucky, Pennywise, Hellraiser, Pinhead, all this cool stuff. Camp Crystal Lake, as you can see. And these were kind of these holographic type of pictures that kind of stood out and jumped out at you when you kind of moved by, you know, the booth itself, which was kind of a cool effect. Some really cool, you know, vintage inspired pieces and some classic Halloween horror themed type of pieces here as well. There's Michael Myers going into the closet after Jamie Lee Curtis. That's pretty cool. Terrifier, that was kind of neat. Some more holographic pictures, you know, Freddy Krueger. These were kind of cool. Kind of regret not getting the ghost one with the pumpkin head, but, you know, the price point was a little bit steep on these, and being that I was traveling, I didn't want them to get damaged in transit, so I kind of held off on those two pieces, but they are cool. Kind of the Wolfman and these pumpkin piece here as well. Good old Boo Bucket, or, you know, vintage inspired, or maybe a vintage plastic bucket, probably for McDonald's maybe, with the ghosts on this one. I think the other one's Mr. Potato Head, so maybe they're not from McDonald's. I don't know. They're just kind of neat, though. One of these Funko Pops, one of the latest crazes, Neighborhood Pumpkin Head. That was kind of different. And I kind of kept making my way to see what else I could find. Finding even some magnets, right? You got to love the Munsters from that classic show. And then obviously here, I don't know if that's Bela Lugosi. I think it might be Bela Lugosi. And then obviously the Invisible Man. There's Bela Lugosi as well as Dracula. Not sure if the other one was him or maybe Boris Karloff. Maybe it was Boris. I'm not sure. Wolfman. That's kind of cool. And hey, even a ceramic pumpkin as well. $15 again. Too large to take home. And kind of picky at this point as well, right? Just want to make sure it's something we're going to keep on to. This plush spider was kind of cool. Something different. More kids-like. But, you know, there were some orange alerts throughout this antique mall, which was kind of cool. Again, did not expect to see this much. Traditionally, when I go down south, a lot harder to find Halloween than here in the Midwest. So I'm not sure if that just has to do with geographic dependencies or whatnot, but it was tough to find. Stopped in at a Goodwill as well, so I wanted to see what I could find, and immediately I found these two guys. I ended up taking these home. They actually got damaged in transit, unfortunately, so they are in the repair shop to be re-cemented or re-glued so they can be in working order, but rest be assured they will be in working order and they will be up for this year's Halloween display. So that was kind of cool to find that in a Goodwill. This guy I didn't end up taking home. We've got a couple of these already, but kind of a cool piece here as well. Kind of just neat to see what we could find at a Goodwill. And again, very surprising that I could find anything Goodwill related at this respective Goodwill as well. So Scarecrow ceramic piece here. Didn't take him home, but kind of neat if you're into that type of thing. A couple of other pieces as well. And then my last stop was at this last antique shop that I had found, and it was kind of a cool place as well. Multitude of different things, as you can see here, aisles and aisles of stuff as we kind of come up to things, but I did locate some Halloween stuff throughout the course of this antique shop as well, which was pretty surprising and pretty exciting as well. There was actually an area in the back, which we'll show here in a second, that had a multitude of different stuff, from blow molds to classic VHS tapes, as you can see here. Goosebumps, gotta love that series, right? Classic there as well. R.L. Stein, Tim Jacobus, that was pretty cool. Marcus the Carcass, I thought that was interesting. Kind of a Halloween decoration that you could put up for Halloween. Looks like he sticks out of the ground like he's rising from the dead or something of that sort. So that was kind of a neat, unique piece here as well. Here's some of those classic VHS tapes as well, which we've gotten into those recently as well, just with some of the cover art. Friday the 13th, It, Final Destination 2. So this vendor had a multitude of different stuff. Some classic books as well, scary stories. That was pretty cool. See a little bit of everything in that horror sci-fi genre, which was pretty neat. Kind of as I kept making my way, again, some more books, scary stories for sleepovers, some classic books as well, and then the blow molds. And man, I love some of these blow molds, the ghost, the skeleton, some really, really cool pieces here as well. Just love the blow molds, and obviously something we continue to add to our collection. So another ghost here as well, another skeleton coming up as well. Some cool stuff. And now we're going to go ahead and check out what I took home. All right, so before I talk about this specific piece, there were two awesome pumpkins that I did take home from those from that Goodwill that we showcased. Two light up pumpkins, but unfortunately, because I did not check a bag and I had a carry-on, they actually popped. So the bags actually popped because I had to check my bag. It was actually a small small overhead bin, so I actually had to go ahead and gate check my carry-on bag, and when I opened up my bag, the pumpkins were split in half. So we'll feature those at another point in time. But this was a really cool piece that I found. It's the House on Haunted Hill, starring Vincent Price. Kind of that vintage type retro looking poster. Already came framed. I think I paid $25 for this, but I thought it was pretty cool. Definitely adds to some of the decor. And it's not an original, it's a repo, but it's a pretty cool piece. I love Vincent Price. I love a lot of the horror films and haunted work that he has done in the past. And I just thought it was a really cool visual piece as well. All right, and this guy was probably my pride and joy of the finds on this Tennessee trip that I had. This is actually a mechanical bank, which is pretty cool. And you can see here, push up the lever here. Eyes pop out, hand goes up, jaw opens up. So kind of a cool mechanical bank feature here as well. This was super fun because like I mentioned, I didn't check a bag. I had carry-ons. So this guy had to go through TSA, which actually got me stopped. They opened it up, kind of laughed, made sure everything was good, and it popped up on the imaging as something to check out, but all was good. We cleared him, and he came home. So that wraps up this little short, quick trip that I had to Tennessee. Was able to find some cool Halloween finds along the way, which always makes for a more interesting trip. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me for the ride along through the country part of Tennessee. And remember, guys, to always stay spooky. Trick or treat.